Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo of the Code 7 Podcast Network, and we are about to get started with Open Mic Live, and I have two special guests with me here tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. I've got my brother Fernando here.
Hello.
Hi. And then our father, Ricardo Sr.
Good evening.
All right. This is going to be fun. So, as always, a word from our sponsors.
At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESINet goes beyond industry standards, not only I3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Carbine, it's multimedia. You can get text, translate to whatever language, getting away with the legacy equipment and going into a cloud-based solution.
It's the first time in U.S. history that we have an ESINet through cloud-native call handling.
As a police officer, to have the victim go video, that's unheard of.
You're getting upgrades every month, not every year.
To schedule your free Carbine demo, please visit carbine.com/WTT.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Good evening and welcome back. This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and we are about to get started with Open Mic Live. It is, what is it? It's August 19th already. We are blazing through this month, and this is going to be a good time. I was going to do this yesterday, but my brother and dad and I are going to be hitting a football game on Saturday, and they were going to be coming today. So I thought, hell, why not just wait and have them do open mic with me to get our dad's side on a couple stories that I've shared with you. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. A big shout out to patrons. As always, thank you for everything. And as always, roll call, because it's Friday. So how are you feeling? How are things going? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being crappy, of course, and then 10 being awesome, how are you feeling? Right now, the way we were laughing already before we even went live, it was hilarious. So I'm at a 9, man. I'm going in at a 9. What about you, Nando? How are you feeling?
I'm probably an 8, just because I'm tired, but good because everybody's here. So,
what about you, Dad? You got out of work.
I got out of work, so I had to drive for about 2 hours and a half. But I'm really feeling good. I'm excited about being here with my boys and really letting them have it on my side.
Oh, geez. So this is going to be interesting. But what's your number? What would you say your number is on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being like the worst, and then 10 being awesome. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I really do feel like a 10.
All right. Yes, we're already at a 10. And as I mentioned, we've got Dawn in here. fan of the show, has been on open mic as well at a conference and stuff, and she was already saying hola, so she's saying hello to you as well. And we're going to get started on here. Dawn is checking in from Northwest Tennessee, working a little overtime tonight. And then a good friend, Fletch, what is going on, dude? Checking in from Jersey. He's at a 7 right now. And of course, as always, please make sure to throw in some reactions. Share this broadcast on your feed as well as your favorite podcasting page. So I appreciate it more than you know. We've got Crystal here jumping in. Not Crystal, our family Crystal, another Crystal, but also out of Florida, actually, Lake Placid, Florida. Already feeling a 10, unprecedented 5 days, kind of off in a row. Dang. All right. We've got James checking in from South Jersey, and we have Earl from Southeast Michigan. All right. So we've got a bunch of people who are checking in already. So this is good. And, if this is your first time on open mic, please make sure to throw that in the comments, and that will be excellent. So we want to go ahead and jump in because so we were discussing this already before we started on some of the stories that we wanted to share, but also to get the side of the story of my dad. So good friend Sarah Weston jumping in as well out of Florida. What is going on? And it's good to have you here. So one of the stories, so there's like 3 or so stories, but I will say this off the bat. So Dad, and we've kind of talked about this before, but the way I have described you to the audience is you're the Mexican version of Red from that 70s show.
And that's the truth. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you take no crap, and you would definitely put your foot on our ass if we got out of line or whatever.
For multiple lines.
Multiple feet, like there were like several. It was very interesting. But so it's funny because every time people will ask about the family and everything else, and people that I brought on, and they're like, "Where's your dad? What does your dad do? What is all this other stuff?" And I would say, "Well, my dad is the Mexican Red. Like if you know that 70s show, he's Red. I was Foreman, and one of my good buddies, Adam, was Hyde. So."
Oh yes,
yeah. We had a lot of good times and everything. So my buddy Fletch here jumps in, and in all caps he says "dumbass," because I mean that's what it was, right? And so we got Deborah jumping in here from Virginia. Hello, welcome. So I guess what is some of the stuff that I guess really happened during the time? Okay, my friend Natalie, who's also from Florida, jumps in here and she says, "Chanclazo time."
Worse than chanclazo.
She goes, "Hello, family, chanclazo time." Something that's funny though is you really you had the look, so there wasn't really a lot of times that you had to do much with us. Like if we got out of hand, I think the most probably that I remember too would be us being at church, right? And
yes.
And you would have sometimes you would have me on one side and Nando on the other side.
That's right.
So that you could like that pinch, like this part, this part here of the arms. If we were not paying attention, or I mean, this is like Catholic church and stuff, so we're standing there, sitting, standing, sitting, right? It's like aerobics and stuff after a little while. But if we weren't, if we were messing around, because it would always start out with what? It would be you and then me and then Nando. And if we were messing around, I would get the pinch, and then you would rearrange us, and then you would be able to pinch us both. Now I have to ask, like, was that just something that you did out of nowhere, or did that happen to you growing up too?
No, that was something invented by me. So it was either that or they were going to get what we call the birthday, which meant we said they're going to get a birthday, they'd be walked to the bathroom, and their mom would take care of the whipping.
So the whole main thing would be, it was a happy birthday. And I remember one time specifically, we were at a restaurant and we were being crappy. We were being punk kids is what was going on. And I remember one of them saying, "Do you guys want a happy birthday?" And we're like, "Oh no." And and the reason I remember this is because I remember the waitress walking up at that moment and was like, "Oh, it's one of your birthdays?" And I remember thinking in my head, "No, lady, no. Like, we're gonna get dealt with. Like you don't need to bring out a cake or anything like that. It's not our birthday. It's going to be. It was just code for you better chill out." or it would just be that look. Right? It would just be that look. I don't know how I'm 41 and you can still give me that look. And I'm like, okay, right. Wait, what did I do? And you're like, just trying to see if you're paying attention.
Which everybody tells me that. I've got that look. I don't know what look it is, but they claim that look of mine will kill you. And I don't even know where that comes from at all.
But it always made for a fun time because I think there were also times where, Nando and I would try to test you.
Oh boy.
Rich.
That testing came alive.
What? Me?
Yeah, you.
Of course, I'm going to be the one to get blamed because I'm the oldest. No, he's right. Yeah, I
just drag everyone down with you. That's all.
Yes, yeah. I would try to push the boundaries of what the four of us could do, and a lot of the times, you and I and Crystal would be united, right? Going up against Dad, we would be united and like, no, we didn't do anything. This didn't happen. But then our youngest sister, our younger sisters are twins, but Devon is a minute younger or something like that than Crystal, so she's the youngest. She would be the one to be like, "Oh, no, okay, this is what happened." We're like, "No."
I could always count on her to give everybody away. So, and still at this age, it still happens. So,
Vani, if you're watching right now, I love you. even though you got us in trouble. So, here's story number one. So I remember growing up, there were times that Nando and I, we would try to do stuff with the twins, and they're a lot younger. Well, they're only a year younger than you, but everyone's a lot younger than me. So
I don't know about a lot.
I mean, we're 6 years apart. And then
Not me.
No, that's why I was saying you guys are just a year apart and stuff, or months. I don't know, something like
months.
That. Yeah.
Months.
So, we would do all different kinds of things. So I remember, man, there's so much stuff now that's coming to mind. And Pamela here, who jumped in, she's like, "I love this. So this is good. This is good." Let me tell this one first. So I remember a time, and this happened many times, but this one just sticks out in my head. You and Mom were either on a date or you were doing something with the church. The both of you were gone, and you were going to be coming back home late. And Grandma Jimenez would let us stay up sometimes.
Yeah, I hated that.
and we would be sitting there either watching the Golden Girls or watching wrestling with her, and we'd be sitting there. And this, if I remember correctly, this was before Grandma Chetto, your mom, before she ended up moving in with us. So this one time we're sitting there when we're watching TV and everything, and you could see when lights were coming, like going down our driveway. Mm-hmm. And I remember Grandma was like, she starts yelling at us in Spanish that you guys were here, and she would yell, "Correle, correle, correle!" Like run. And we would be hauling butt, running to go and lay down. But if you remember, Dad, so the kitchen was like this, it was a slippery floor. And for whatever reason, we would run and we would slide. But right,
you can. That's fine.
Yes, yeah. But the dining room right there, you guys had that china cabinet.
Yep.
And you could, if just barely walking on it, you would shake the glass. So we would be hauling, slide, and then get right to that spot, and then just tiptoe as much as we could, and then start running again down the hallway to our rooms. Now, we would be in bed, and I remember the door opening, and I could hear you, and then it's just And as a kid, I mean, you sound like, you know, Sasquatch, you know, just big steps and everything.
Or 3, 5, 4, 5.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I remember, you know, the girls shared a room and Nando and I shared a room. And I remember our beds were like they were on the opposite corners of the room. However, you had this presence and you would give off this vibe that we could tell when you were standing there in the doorway watching us to see if we would like move. And I remember I would be laying there just going, just breathe normal. Just breathe normal. and then hoping that Nando wasn't going to start laughing, because there were a few times where we would just start laughing and we would get in trouble, or Nando would start laughing and we would get in trouble. But this one time we were cool and we made it. And
they thought they made it.
Well, see, the thing was though, is that you're standing there, right? And even though you were far from us, like I could feel your breath. But you would end up either you would say it while standing in the doorway, or you would walk in and you would go, I know you guys are awake. Just get up. And it would be just laying there. Just breathe normal. Just breathe normal.
Like this. With your eyes all...
Yeah, with their eyes like real squinting hardcore, like you can't see it.
And that's what always gave it away, because you guys would force your eyes, and there was no way you don't sleep that way. As a matter of fact, one of the times that I came in, Nando,
oh no,
for some odd reason, had his eyes open, but he was actually sound asleep.
What?
Oh, gee.
And I'm going, Nando, stop faking. And you woke up and you said, he's not faking that, he's actually asleep. And then Mom came in, she goes, Ricardo, he's actually asleep. I said, no, he's not. He's faking. Just like they always fake. But this time, he's got his eyes open. Well, unfortunately, he was asleep. I let him have it.
It was okay.
I know,
and he actually woke up.
Oh, geez. Oh, that is hilarious. And so in this time, you know, you're standing in the middle of us and you're talking to us. And it sucked though, because there would be times where we would either, like I said, we would either chuckle or one of us might fart. I don't know, something like that.
It always
happened. Me.
Yeah. Nando would always pass gas.
It was the funniest thing, but also scary. It was also scary because
the fart too.
Yeah. See?
Also scary.
Yeah. Just like burnt. You're like, no,
don't breathe in.
Right under the blanket, you're like, oh, I Dutch oven myself. Oh no. But this time you okay, well, you played it off like you believed that we were asleep, because you left the room and then you went down to the twins' room and you were standing there, and I heard you talking too, and I'm like, please be quiet. Please don't say anything. And then, of course, Vani, I'm so sorry.
And I knew, I always knew that I could count on her to give it away. So that's why I would always wait. I'd go see the boys first, because I knew these guys were rotten. You know, as being a father, you know, it's a wonderful thing that God blessed us with these 4 kids. But they're beautiful when they're young and little and all cuddly and everything else, and then they grow up to be monsters.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I should put that on a shirt, or that's going to be the teaser for this episode. If I put it out, it's going to be, in case you missed it, and it's going to be you saying that, because it sounded, you know, very wholesome and like, oh, Dad, and then they grow up to be monsters.
But that happens in all of us, in all parents. We love our kids to death, you know, until they get to that age that, yeah, the stuff starts happening. It's like, I should have gotten myself fixed or something. But no, I love my kids to death.
That was amazing. Like that's the teaser right there. That is the clip that will go out now for that. Oh, that is amazing. And what's funny is that I was going to ask you, what was that like for you Okay, let me give you an example. So, and Carly, hi, how's it going? So Olivia, my youngest, my 6-year-old, she's basically me. She's like the girl version of me, and she will do things, and I'll come up to her and I'll give her the look because I inherited your look, so I'll give her the look, but then she will say something super clever, and I'm like, what do I do? So I try to stay as straight faced as possible, and then I run upstairs so that I can laugh because it's funny. So for you, especially in that moment while we're laying there, how did you not laugh knowing that we were completely faking it?
Well, one of the biggest secrets to all that was that I knew that if I cracked up laughing there, they weren't going to take me serious.
Wow.
So
well, that's why I run away.
I would go straight to their mom and say, these guys think they really got away with stuff. She goes, Richard, they're just kids. I said, no, they're monsters. No. Wait till the morning. They're going to get it in the morning. So, but I'd forget about it and wouldn't do anything. But I'd go in there and I'd cover myself with a pillow and just crack up laughing, or go into the bathroom where nobody would hear me and just crack up laughing. I'm going, these guys are impossible.
But at the same time, though, did you see a little bit of you in each one of us? Which, I mean, because that's the thing that happens to me. Like when I'm trying to discipline one of the kids, I will see myself in them and I immediately want to laugh, but I stay straight faced and then I run away and I go and laugh and I think, I cannot believe this. Like now this is coming back on me. So
and I used to tell you that wait till you have kids, it'll come back to haunt you. And it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
paybacks for a bitch.
This is true. This is very true. So looking over here in the comments, one of the people who's watching us right now said, as the parent of a teenager, I now understand why animals in the wild eat their young.
and then they shit them out.
There you go. Yes. So and that's why I wanted to have this conversation as well, because it's so funny. Like I said, when I'm with the kids and certain things happen, it takes everything in me to not laugh, because just like you were saying, they won't take me seriously.
That's right.
And there was one time that I could not help but break, and I started laughing, and I was like, this is not funny. Okay.
You're dead.
Yeah. Like, this is not funny. And I should not be laughing. And then they're trying not to laugh. And then we just kind of stand there and I'm like, you know what? How about you go clean your room? So, there was one time. Okay. And I don't know if you remember this, but maybe I can, refresh your memory. So there was one time where, Nando and I were downstairs in the basement, which, thinking about it now as adults, I don't know why we were down there playing, because the house was haunted and it was scary down in the basement, but we were down there, right? We're down there, and we had just bought these huge, like, Everlast boxing gloves, and we were going to box and everything, and just have fun. Well, I'm sure it was my idea that I talked Nando into.
As always. Being the oldest,
and we were downstairs, and everyone who's watching right now, I believe, has heard this story. But if not, either way, I'm gonna be telling this. We each picked one of our sisters and put the gloves on them, and we were trying to get them to box, because we're like, which twin would win? Like, they're the same, so which one would win? and we're trying to get them to box. Each one of us were like the manager of the other, and they won't. They would not box. They're like, I love my sister. And I was like, dude, what are we gonna do? Like, what can I say? And I have no idea. I don't remember what I said. But whatever I said, Crystal was like, what? And she went at her, and they were like, and they were boxing, like they were going to town, and we're like, yeah. And I think it was Devon who got clocked in the face. Yep. And she started crying, and we're like, oh no. And I look at Nando, and I remember he's looking at me like, dude, what do we do? because I'm the oldest, right? So I'm supposed to be the one to figure out what we're going to do now, because they're crying loud and our parents are home. Excuse me. And as we're standing there staring at each other, the girls yell, "Dad!" real loud. And you would think that a ghost was chasing us or something, because I remember us running up those stairs so fast that we ended up outside. And I remember Nando saying, "What do we do?" And I was like, "Get the basketball." We were just shooting. Just shooting. And
one thing that they never did, both of them together, is shoot baskets.
This is true. Yeah.
That was one of the giveaways.
Damn, that's right. We didn't always shoot
Never.
baskets. No wonder.
No.
Not
Not at all.
And here I am thinking that we were being slick and stuff.
No.
That was a giveaway already. Stupid. So, we're shooting hoops and everything, and you could hear like the front door. It was a screen door, and it had kind of a screech to it whenever you would open it. So you could tell the door opens. Yeah. Richie,
the Adams family.
Yeah, Richie, Nando, get over here. And we're like, okay, here we go. And I remember coming up to you and like, "What's up, Pop?" like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and that was another giveaway. Never say Pops.
Well, so then, we go inside and you were like, "Why are you making the twins fight and everything?" We're like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." And yeah, well, we ended up giving up because there was no way. I mean, there's no getting away with it.
You hear all the wees, right? we, you,
me, I guess, me. And I remember we were going into the room and you were like, go in. And like as soon as we were going to walk into the room, you were just going to kind of like pat us going in, like, "What are you doing?" And I got mine and I went in and I remember watching Nando and he's waiting and you were telling him to go in. And then when he went in,
smart ass.
Yeah. you went to peg him and he dodged you. He dodged it.
Boy, did he ever.
And I just remember going, "Oh no." And I remember you were like, you said something like, "Now it's gonna be worse." And you ended up walking up to him and pegging him, and he's like, "Shh." And then you walked away. Now as a parent, if that was me doing that, I probably would have laughed, because one of my kids took a shot in trying to dodge what I was, trying to discipline them and stuff. So when you left, I remember Nando and I were there and we were kind of laughing, and I was like, "What did you do?" And he's like, I wanted to see what would happen or something like that. And you walked away. So I don't know if you remember that incident, but if you do.
Oh yeah. I was so angry. That's one thing with my mom, it was never dodge Mom or run away or laugh or anything like that. I looked at my boy Nando and I said, "No way in hell he did that." No way in hell did I ever think that this kid would do this to me. And sure enough, he did it. He dodged me. And I said, "That's the last time you ever dodged me, boy. I'm going to wring your neck." But at the same time, Rich, you asked about if I ever saw myself in you guys. And every damn day, even at the ages that these guys are now, I still see a lot of me. And when I leave here, these guys don't know, but when I leave here, I actually crack up laughing by myself. I'm going like, "Damn, that's me all over again." Especially with Nando. Nando has, for some odd reason, we've got 4 kids. We got the twins and we've got the boys. And we got 2, Rich and Devon, or the softies, I would say, in the family, in the sense that they don't get pissed right away. It takes a lot for them to get mad. But Crystal and Nando, Jesus, they've got the same attitude I got. Oh my God. It's I see myself in them every day. And as a parent, of course, we've gone through this ourselves, so we know exactly. So it's really like I have to wait till I leave here and just crack up laughing because I'm going like, damn. And I tell people that work, I said, I've got 2 softies and I got 2 that, oh my God, they're triple of what I was when I was a kid. It's like living hell. But that's the way they are.
The truth is coming out.
And of course, I love them to death, but sometimes when I look at them and I'm going like, I'm going to stick my foot right up your butt. So
in true Red style, yeah.
Yeah. Or I will act like Angie or Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker was one of those,
yes.
Meathead, get over here.
That's right. Yes.
So, yeah, they really, they've got their own ways. They got their own ways, but they always thought they got away with stuff, but they never got away with anything.
Oh, okay. Well, so this is a good segue then into one of the next stories, but also kind of building up to this, as my dad is saying that, you know, we could never get away with anything. The other thing too is that, so we grew up in a small city in Southwest Michigan, Fenville, Michigan. It's Fenville, Saugatuck, Holland, South Haven. So if you know the area,
I forgot Douglas.
And well, yeah, Saugatuck, Douglas, there in that area. But excuse me, everyone knew my dad.
Everybody.
And he knew everyone as well. So there was never a time that we could do anything. I mean, we would, we would ride our bikes, into town, and we would go play basketball, or we'd go to the park or whatever. And by the time we got back, like our dad knew, like, oh, you were with so-and-so, or, somebody saw you at the gas station. We're like, dude, like, we can't do anything. And this is before social media. This is before cell phones, email, anything that we have now where you can rapidly find someone, or someone could easily send you a text message or something like that to say, oh, I saw so-and-so over there. No, man, this is just word of mouth. Have no idea how this would happen. But we couldn't get away with shit. Like nothing. We couldn't get away with anything. So with that said, oh man. So there was a time, okay, that I skipped school.
Oh.
And so for those who haven't heard the story, I'm going to go ahead and go through it because I've shared the story before a couple times. And one of the times I had my mom on here, and she told her side of the story. And now I get to have Dad's side of the story. So this is what is going to make it even more awesome. And so I'm looking in the comments here. Got someone saying, "Oh, is this Dad and brother? I'm late." Yes, it is. This is my dad and my bro. And Sarah says, "Y'all look just alike. I can't get over it." And then Karen says, "Hey, look at your papa." Yeah. So this is good. We've got all these people here, and thank you for being here with us. I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are, because this is fun to talk about this stuff and reflect and everything. So I think it's freshman year, right? I think it's freshman year that this happened. And I remember I was with my cousins and a friend at the time, and we had been talking about this earlier in the day. Actually, the day before, we had been talking about this. And I remember I thought, Dad knows everyone. I don't think that this is going to work.
No way in hell.
So we waited until like second or third period was over, and we took off. And we end up going to a cousin's house first, and then we're trying to figure out, what car are we going to take? So one of my cousins had an Avenger, and we were all going to go in there. We're like, man, we're going to ride in style. We're going to go and we're going to go to Holland, and we're going to go, get some fast food or whatever for lunch, and then go back to class. It'll be fine. It took a lot of convincing, but I finally went. Okay.
He was shaking his pants.
And I probably was. I probably was. So, Lavelle here says, awesome. It's Dana from Texas. My dad's from Texas, actually. Yeah.
Exactly.
from the valley. Yes. So go down so we end up taking off and we go to Holland, and we end up going to the high school first because one of my cousin who was driving, his girlfriend was there and was going to try to get her. And I remember saying to him, dude, there is no more room in this little car. Like, she's not going to fit. And he's like, well, you're going to get him back with everybody else. She's going to sit up front. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense then, I guess. That's how it's going to work. So she's there, and we hear a guy out of nowhere say, hey, what are you doing over there by that car? And she goes, I got to go. And she took off. And we are just sitting there like, I wonder who that was, which we should have taken off right away. But it was the security guard. And he walked up. And he goes, aren't you kids supposed to be in school? And we're like, oh, yeah, we're here for lunch. And he says, what school do you go to? So, of course, we all immediately say Saugatuck. We when we were from Fenville. But we said Saugatuck, of course, because we didn't want to get in trouble. And he goes, okay, well, give me your names, which I gave my name. And he goes, I'm going to go call the school, and I'll be right back.
He was always a dumb one, always gave his real name away.
Thanks, Dad. Well, I wasn't going to lie about that because you knew everyone. Like, there was no and you knew people in Saugatuck and Douglas too.
I knew all over the place.
So there was no lying. I had to tell. Yeah, that of course I was going to say my name. And he goes, "Don't go anywhere." And of course, as soon as he left, we hauled ass. We took off. So we take off. And then we go to find a place to eat. We all wanted to go to Burger King, but the driver wanted to go to McDonald's. And we were arguing, and he goes, I'm the one who's driving. We're going to go to McDonald's. We're like, okay. I had a bad feeling the whole time. And then we get in there, we get our food, and we're sitting down, and we're eating, we're having a good time. And I remember I finally got comfortable enough where I thought, we did it. We made it. Now, we're sitting in this area where if you turn to the right, which is funny that my dad is to the right of me right now because I'm having a flashback and I'm kind of shaking a little bit. I'm just playing. But we're sitting there, and to the right is the main window, okay? And that's where all the cars are lined up for the drive-through. Now we're talking, we're laughing, we're having a good time and everything. And I turn around as I'm laughing, and there is my dad in the drive-through line with my mom, and they were laughing. And my laughing went away because I was frozen stiff staring at them. And Dad goes from smiling to like death.
What the hell are you doing at a McDonald's? And here's the biggest thing. You skip school. You don't let anybody know.
Oh, no.
And then, like idiots,
maybe we shouldn't have done this.
Right in front of the window. The biggest window you got in McDonald's, and right facing the outside. Who's not going to see you? That's how stupid they were. They think they can get away with stuff, and they give themselves away like a bunch of idiots. So, yes, my wife and I, we were laughing, but we're laughing at a thing that, for you all don't know, I used to interpret for the courts. I used to work with juveniles and everything else, and so I still do. And here I am chasing after kids all the time, and I have to turn around and look at my own kid skipping school, which is one thing that
came through my nose.
It never, ever was to happen with my kids. I always used to tell people, my kids will never skip school. Now, if Rich would have been smart enough, he would have said, Dad, my cousins are always ragging on me, and can I skip school today? And I would have let him. I swear to you, I would have said, yes, go ahead.
Nah.
But no, like an idiot, he listens to his cousins because they got away with a lot of stuff, unfortunately. But not with me. Nobody got away with stuff with me. Not when I knew that they were doing something wrong.
So we got someone here in the audience saying, ha 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 ha, you didn't even try to hide yourself, rookie.
Yeah. Or as
Well-
we used to say back in the old days, you greenhorn.
Well, so we this happens. Okay, we make eye contact. He is peering into my soul and pulling it out, and I am just just freaking out. And I have no idea how you did this because they were bumper to bumper, but somehow he was able to turn this purple 90-something Chevy Cavalier enough to burn tires and take off. And I'm just sitting there like, oh no. Like trying not to shit myself right there. Like really, I'm trying not to lose it. And I'm looking at everyone because they go, dude, did you see that? Who was that dude did you see that? That's crazy. And I went, that was my parents. And they're like, no. And I said, that was my dad. That was my dad. That's who did that. And if my mom comes in, I'm hit. We are hit. Like that means it's really, really bad if mom comes in and not dad. And sure enough, a few minutes later, because also one of my cousins goes, Richie, go hide in the bathroom. And I was like, what is that going to matter now? Like they already saw me. They saw us. There's nothing. They're going to pull me out of the bathroom. Like there's nothing I can do. Like, can you imagine me being in the stall? Mom would have gone in there.
He would have been dead.
Dude, mom would have gone into that bathroom and it's like, pull me out. I'd be like, So
you have made it way worse.
I know, right? Should have been throwing burgers at me. Like, don't even mind. So we're sitting there, and sure enough, she walks in, and I knew it. Like I'm sweating now, how I was sweating then. and she comes in and she goes, "What are you guys doing?" And immediately the cousins are like, "Oh, it's okay. We got permission from the school." And she's like, "No, you didn't." And I was like, "Stop lying to my mom." And she goes, "Richie, get up right now and go outside with me. We're taking you back to school. Your dad is in the car." And I was like, "I know he is. I know." And I get up to take off. And as we're walking away, mom did the most gangster shit ever. And she turns around and she goes, "By the way, I'm going to tell every one of your parents what happened here." And they're like, "No." So we go to the car and you're sitting in the car and like, I want to say hi, but I know not to because, like
He would have been dead.
So our dad's always kind of had this, gray hair, but that day it was red. At least that's what I remember. It was red. But I get in the back of the car and we take off, and there was no one said a word.
Not a word.
And then I finally spoke up to say, "I'm sorry." And you're like, "Don't even say anything right now." And I just remember like shrinking back into the seat. And I thought, no one is ever Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries is going to be narrating my story because no one is going to find me. And man, I remember you telling me like, anything could have happened to you. Like we would have never known if something would have happened. And so you're telling me all this stuff from a parent's perspective. And as a parent now, like I fully understand, like I still laugh about it, but I fully understand, as a parent having that fear, but then you end up throwing something at me, which is, I bet you have no idea what's in the trunk right now. And in my head, I'm thinking, a shovel? Like, are you guys going to bury me or something? And I didn't say it out loud. That was in my head. But what it was that was the day that you guys bought the tires and rims for the Camaro.
Oh, yes.
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 Yeah.
We had gone and gotten him a present because I had this real nice Camaro that I bought from one of my nieces. And so I love this car to death, but I figured, well, my son deserves this.
Oh no.
he deserves a car, which a real nice car, because he was all jacked up. It was sporty car, T-tops, everything else, nice jet black, and we had just gotten him some new wheels, And I'm going, damn, let's take this damn wheels back. But the thing is that what Rich doesn't know, that the reason I didn't get out of the car, because I told his mom, either you go in or he's dead. And mom's being mom, she goes, Richard, because she always calls me Richard, he's just a kid. Again, always a kid. Why can't he grow up? He knows damn well that everybody knows me in town. Everybody knows me in town. These guys could not get away with anything. If they farted, I knew it. So, and the teachers, when I went to high school, there was the same teachers that were there.
That's true.
That I went through.
Yeah.
And so they all knew me. And they all knew me, and they always used to tell me, "Oh, your kids are so perfect," and everything else. I'm going like, "Damn, no, they're not." I know them better, But they would cover up a lot of the stuff for them. And no, I was so pissed.
Well, and
continue with the story, and I'll finish it off.
It doesn't end there because this is going on, okay, and we get back to the school finally. I mean, it was so from where we were at, like the most southern part of Holland, it was probably 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
And
we got there in 5.
I mean, okay, well, we might have gotten there in 5, but to me, it felt like an eternity because sitting back there just thinking, what is going to happen to me? What is going to happen to me? Well, we finally pull up to the school, right? And I get out of the car and, I said, I'm sorry again. And Dad's like, just get your ass to class. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. And I'm walking towards the, the main entrance of the high school. And then I notice a shadow next to me and I look over and it's Dad who's walking with me that's how messed up I was. And I didn't even realize that he was there. And I said, what are you doing? Where are you going? And he goes, I'm making sure that you go to class. And I was like, okay. So we walk in, right? We walk in and I pass by the principal's office and he goes, hey. And I said, what? And he goes, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to class, Dad. I'm going to class. And he goes, get over here. And I was like, what are we doing? And we walk into the principal's office and the administrative assistant that's there at the desk, she went to school with my dad, and she goes, "Hi, Richard." And I just remember you going, "Where's Mr. Rummer?" And she goes, he's in there. He's having, okay. Because we were already past her. And we walked in as the principal was taking a bite out of whatever he was eating for lunch at that time. We fully interrupted him. And Dad sits down. And I go to sit down. He's like, stand right there. And the principal goes, what? So what is going on? How can I help you guys? And I'm just standing there. And Dad goes, tell him what you did. Tell him what happened. And I said, my parents just caught me skipping school. I was in Holland, and I'm really sorry. And he goes, well, all right. Thank you for being honest and telling me, coming in here, just get back to class. And I remember in my head, I was like, yeah, like, yes, I'm good to go. I'm golden. And I turn around and Dad goes, no, that's not it. That's really it. That's all you're going to do. And the principal goes, oh, well, no, you're right. You're right. Who was with you? And I had to give up all the names because with this dude there was no way that I was going to, be like, it was Daffy Duck was with me and, other people. Like, there's no way I could not say. And at the end of that, the principal ends up saying, well, you now have 10 hours of detention that you need to do by the end of the week somehow, or you're going to be in more trouble. I was like, okay. And I left, and then, my dad left and we parted ways. So with that said,
that's not really all of it.
Uh-oh.
The principal was actually laughing. I said, don't you damn laugh. That ain't funny. I said, you're going to give him more than just what you just gave him. I said, because if something would have happened to him and he skipped school and he walked right by you guys, I said, no, there's no way. I said, you guys know me and you know who I am and you know what I can do. So,
oh my God.
Therefore, his face turned red. I said, I'm sorry for laughing. I said, no. You're going to take care of this and you're going to do more than what you just said you were going to do. And that's the end of it. And I'm going to be walking by here. I said, and you better make sure that this boy never leaves school again, or my foot's going to be up. Instead of his ass, it's going to be up your ass. And then I left, and of course my wife looks at me and she goes, "What did you do?" I said, you know who I am, you know how I am, you know me. She goes, "Yeah, but I bet you anything you said something to the principal, right?" I said, "I sure did." I said, "I make sure that this boy's never going to skip school again." And she goes, "Oh my God, that's embarrassing." Because that was her favorite word. "This is embarrassing." I said, "Embarrassing or not, but this is the way it's going to be." And these guys could never get away with anything. Nothing. I felt so sorry for him. I coached him. I did everything with him. And so other kids could get away with stuff, but not my boys.
No,
not my kids.
It sucked. But it didn't stop us from trying. It did not stop us from trying. And that's what that's what made it fun. Now, looking at the comments here, someone says snitches get stitches.
They got more than stitches.
and another friend says pop school and the principal. For real. Yes. Yeah. So see, and that's why I wanted to share these stories again, because I wanted to get your side of it and just kind of your thoughts, because here's the other thing. I was grounded from my car for 2 months.
And lucky it was 2 months and not taken away.
And also I didn't get those tires and rims until that summer, which was basically the whole school year.
Yep.
I didn't get them. And when I finally did, oh my gosh, it was so good. It was amazing. But I was on the bus. I was riding the bus. And I remember it was embarrassing because I got on the bus. And I remember some of our younger sister's friends were like, "Hey, I thought your brother had that cool car. Why is he on the bus?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing." So those 2 months, and I was in band, and I had a saxophone, so it was a big case. So I would get on the stupid bus, holding the big case and everything, walking all the way to the back to sit in the back where all the high schoolers sit. But you've got all these little kids who are shaming me and everything as I'm getting on. So for 2 months, that sucked. But
that's really not, what I'm going to say is not to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. But he really looked like a nerd. Carrying this big old saxophone and everything else. That in itself was worth a million laughs because,
yes.
Here you got this kid, that 16-year-old kid with a nice looking car, and then gets the car taken away, and then he's like a nerd riding the bus. That taught him a lesson.
See, that's why I'm saying I was foreman. I was straight up foreman, man. And this is our red. So we're getting towards the end of this broadcast, which this has been amazing to do this. But one last story, okay? And this one was epic, okay? And as we were saying already, we had the same the same teachers that our parents had, okay? And that was another reason why we couldn't get away with anything, because they knew our parents, and of course, they've got the phone numbers and everything, so if something's going down, they're going to call. So for my government class, this was, I think, junior year, my government class.
Burns.
Yes. Mr. Joe Burns, okay? And he was a very cool teacher, but that government class sucked. Now, I would do my homework, I would do the tests, and I was getting good grades in there, but I was skipping the class too because I was just bored. And you could only miss 10 days, and then it was a straight up 0, and I was getting close. I think it was like on 7 or something. And I remember I got home from school. Parents weren't home. I don't know where they were at the time, but phone rings, and I get it. And it just, hello. And I hear, is this Mr. Martinez? Is this Richard? This is Mr. Joe Spurns. And I knew I was in trouble right away. And I said, yes, Mr. Joe Spurns. This is, how are you doing? And he goes, oh, Richard, it's so good to hear your voice and everything. And I said, no, you as well. What's going on? How can I help you today? And he goes, well, it's about Rich. And I remember responding with, oh no, what has he done? Go ahead, tell me, what has he done? And what the heck? Dude, I had to try to make it, convincing, and so he ends up saying, Zach, what is going on? He doesn't say that, but Zach, what's going on? And Vivian and everyone who's jumping in, he's telling me what I've been doing. Okay. And just going through all of this stuff. And I said, well, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'm going to take care of it when he gets home. He's going to hear it from me, and just don't worry. I'll make sure that he gets what's coming to him or something like that. But then he says to me, oh, Richard, boys will be boys. Okay. Just, don't be too hard on him. You know how you were in high school. And I remember thinking to myself, what did he do? What did he do? But I end up getting off the phone, right? Completely forget the story. And Michael Martin, what's up, dude? So I completely forget about it, okay? A few weeks later, it's parent-teacher conference. Now, a lot of people, they don't. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't. When students get to high school, they don't always go with them to parent-teacher conferences. Well, not our parents. Our parents, no matter how old we were, what grade, it doesn't matter. They went to parent-teacher conference with us every time. Every time. And a lot of times, actually every time, except for this one time, my mom went. She would go with me. And for whatever reason, this time, they switched at the last second. and I was nervous because now it's Dad and I going to parent-teacher conference. We get to the high school and we're in the gym and we're going to every teacher. And every teacher is like, oh, he's doing good and this and that. The very last teacher is Mr. Joe Spurns. The very last one. And again, I had completely forgotten about this conversation. And we sit down, we say hello, and then it happens. Mr. Joe Spurns says, Richard, it was really good talking to you a few weeks ago. It's and it was at that moment that I had that pucker factor, and I'm instant sweating, and I'm just sitting there because I don't know what to do. What I want to do is get up and run through the wall like Bugs Bunny, when he leaves the imprint of his body. That's what I wanted to do. Or get in DeLorean and go back in time. Something. Obviously, there was nothing I could do. But at this time, Dad is sitting to my left. And I'm still staring at the teacher like I'm staring at all of you in the camera right now. And I can feel you looking at me through my body and into my soul. And I slowly turn to the left and you say something to me like, so we talked, huh? And I remember kind of clearing my throat a little bit like I just did and turning back towards Mr. Joe Spurns. And I said, Mr. Joe Spurns, I'm really sorry. That was actually me that you talked to. And he goes, oh, okay. And I'm like, where do we go from here? And then Dad goes, get your ass outside right now. So what I want to know is what happened between the two of you, if you remember. But hold on, before you get to that part, because, and I think, Mike, I think you were one of the people that I saw in the hallway. But I remember I was standing in the hallway and I was freaking out, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. Again, I might have been an Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know. But I had a few friends walk up and they're like, "Hey man, what's going on? What's wrong?" And I was like, I don't even want to talk about it right now. And they're like, "Dude, are you all right?" And as this is happening, as they're asking me if I'm all right, Dad walks out of the gym and he goes, "Hey, get over here." And they hear and see him and then look at me and they're like, "Dude, good luck." And they take off. So with that said, what was the conversation? Do you remember, like, what happened with Mr. Josperns after that?
Well, yeah. What happened was this. As I looked at Mr. Josperns and said, "How could you have thought that my son sounds like me?" "Well, he sounded just like you, Richard." I said, "Mr. Josperns, you remember me in class, right?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, and you knew I used to play jokes on you all the time." I said, "But you not knowing that wasn't me calling with some of the things that you're telling me that he said?" Because he was telling me exactly what Richard said. I said, "When have I ever been so nice to you?" I've never been nice to you. I either tell you to go dunk yourself in the can or whatever, you know very well, because I wasn't perfect either. And we parents, we know that. We're not perfect. But we don't want our kids to be us, a bunch of asses acting up. And so I tried my best. My wife and I tried our best to bring them up to be very smart and to do the right thing.
Smart ass.
Because I worked with juveniles. I worked with juveniles most of my life. And so I try to teach them right from wrong. And so here you got my kids and people knowing that, oh, they're your kids. You get after our asses, but you don't get after your kids. So what's the big deal? But so I got into it with Mr. Josperns. He goes, "Oh, he's just a kid. You know how kids are." Exactly what he had said before. I said, "No, he's my kid. He's not going to do this anymore. If next time you decide to call, make sure you ask for either mom or the real dad, and we'll take care of business from now on." He goes, "Well, I'm so sorry." And Mr. Josperns was a funny guy. He was a real nice teacher. Gentle. He could be the gentlest guy in the whole school system. You could get away with murder with him. But anyhow, not my kids. They couldn't get away with murder. Or his friends, Rich's friends. And he's right. Every time they would see me, they're going like, "Oh, here he comes." They even could still call me coach now. I used to coach all their baseball. They played baseball together and stuff. And, they kind of are glad that I wasn't their dad, probably, because and they would have ended up dead. But yeah, Mr. Josperns and I had a real good conversation, Rich, and he said, "It's never going to happen again." I said, "You're right. It's not going to happen again." And so that's the story of Rich trying to pass like Dad and make his voice sound exactly. I think the three of us, we sound the same. I can't never tell my girls apart because they sound the same. And so, Mom's the only one that's got her own voice. But yeah, these guys could never get away with anything. So.
And it is Mike who's on here because he goes, "Hell yeah, coach." He's watching right now. Yeah, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
So, we end up leaving there, and I remember we're in the car, and I remember thinking, man, the last time I did something stupid like this and got caught, I lost the car for months. Luckily, during this time, like from like 16 on, actually before that, I had Crystal's on right now. I had a job, so luckily I didn't lose the car. But there was a lot of other stuff that I ended up losing on that I could not do. But we end up getting in the car and we leave, and Dad is just laying in on me, and I'm just sitting there because I'm like, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is say sorry. And even trying to say sorry was like, no, don't talk.
Don't breathe.
Right. So I'm like turning purple, and Crystal says, hi, Dad, Anando. Also, we've got someone here in the audience. She says, you did a hell of a job, sir. Ricardo is awesome, and I'm sure his brother and sisters are just as great. Aw. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for covering up for him.
Yeah. So we end up getting home, and I remember I was just like, oh man, I cannot believe the one time that that Mom didn't go with me. Dad goes, and this happens. I get epically caught in this trying to pretend to be him. And so here's a question then. After I end up going to the room, what was the conversation like with Mom? Like, did you just like go up to her and were like, you will not believe what this kid did? Like,
exactly. Yeah. Mom always knew something was up. I guess it was that look that gives me away, and the way I act. It's like I'm punching everything that I could punch. I'm cussing up a storm and everything else. And so she knew, okay, what did he do this time? So I looked at her and said, did you know that Joe Burns had called? Mr. Joe Burns called. Oh, that was so nice. No, it wasn't nice. Actually, Rich acted like he was me. What? Wait till we get him. So, it never got away with anything. But nothing seems to amaze us parents with our kids because they grow up to be just like us. There's no way of getting away with it whatsoever. Even up to now, they still try to get away with crap.
Okay.
And I still lay into them. I always tell them, I'm over 90, 100 years old. And if I have to hit you with my stick that I have to walk with, my walking stick, I'm going to get you. You're going to just like the chancla.
You're going to be like, old Biff with the cane, with the fist that's on there.
Exactly.
Yep. Be hitting us and stuff. Well, we are past the hour, and this has been a lot of fun. And sharing these stories. One last thing. There were times when you guys were gone that Nando and I would hop into the Camaro. And I remember I was like 14 or so at the time. And we would drive around the yard thinking we were cool. And there was one time that we drove to the back, way in the back where the dunes were.
Yep.
And I didn't know this at the time, but the car had a kill switch on there.
It sure did.
And when we went to park and go walk around the dunes, I accidentally hit it, but I didn't know what I had hit. And I knew that you guys were going to be home soon. And I remember we were freaking out because we were in the car and the car wouldn't turn on. So I finally figured out that there was a switch, and I hit the switch, turned the car on, and Nando and I haul ass back to the house. And I remember I had made marks to park the car exactly where it was before. But I got in trouble. If you remember this, I got in trouble because stupid me didn't
clean the car.
Clean up the marks. The marks were still there because we had a gravel driveway. So I had made these lines to be able to park the car back exactly where it was, but my stupid ass did not end up taking out those lines.
And we go right back to Red when his son takes the car out, and Red always used to measure everything. So we knew exactly where the cars were parked and how they were parked. And we always knew, but I was too tired that day, and I'm going like, I'm not going to deal with this today. You deal. I looked at my wife and I said, you deal with it. I'm tired. Because if I deal with it, I'm going to kill him. Because they could have gotten, there were holes in there, and they could have gotten stuck. They would have never gotten the car out.
That's true.
Because it was all sand.
Yeah.
And so, to have a Camaro down there, and that sucker had a lot of power. That was one big mistake of mine, that I had that car all screwed up and everything else real nice. And it had a lot of power. To have a 16-year-old have a car like that, it was like, dummy. But
we had a lot of fun, though. There was a lot of fun, good sound system. Wait, you know what? I just realized, out of all these stories and everything, what did you do?
What do you mean?
You just followed what I said.
Yeah. He always followed the leader. Always followed the leader. Richie wanted a baby brother.
Sure,
He got him. He got him.
This is a good idea. Let's do this. Hey, this is a good idea. Let's do that.
Well, so
Always.
then, yeah. So
I was a kid. It's not going to be my idea.
What? I'm sorry.
It's like I have a car or anything else.
One last story. So my dad had 2 old 57 Chevys.
Oh God!
In the back of the house. And my brother and I had these wrestling buddies. I had Hulk Hogan and he had the Ultimate Warrior. And we would go onto the deck and have like our own wrestling matches. Well, one time we decided that we're going to use the roof of one of the 57 Chevys and body slam.
One time we used to jump off onto that thing all the time.
Dude.
All the time.
All the time.
I wasn't going to go that far.
How many times we would jump off the deck and then onto those and then down onto the ground and run off of them.
The idiots.
From one to the other.
If they only knew how much those cars were worth, and they're jumping on top of them,
just old cars.
and their whole body.
We didn't appreciate
now I know. Like, holy, that sucks.
So we're wrestling on there and we're body slamming these things and each other on not only the roof of one of the 57 Chevys, but also the hood, and then jumping off of the hood to do like a Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop. And Crystal says everyone did, especially when we were playing tag.
For real?
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Crystal.
Mike was there
Love
too.
You. Michael, you too, huh? Okay, wait till I see you.
I'm just playing. But we did. And this one time specifically, I remember Dad got home and he saw us and I don't know what he said, because it was like the devil was like, what are you doing? It's like real crazy. And we're like, we got in trouble.
Boy, did you ever.
The only reason I bring that up is because I was going to say, like, what was that like? Like, did you immediately like freaking out? Like, I am going to kill them.
Hey, it always came to my mind, but we spent so much money in bringing these kids up. If I would have killed them, it was like, dang,
man.
What should I do? Keep the kids?
Like, we don't get the money back.
Yeah, I'm not going to get nothing back. At least I'll work them to death.
Well, Crystal says here, she goes, I'll let you jump on the Mustang, Dad. Yeah. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, you've got something there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, this has been an excellent time. Thank you all for joining us. And Dad, thank you so much. There's a lot of stuff that we did growing up, but I think both you and Mom did everything that you could, and we've got this crazy work ethic and just so many good things that came out of it, even though sometimes we were little assholes, and I apologize, but it was fun. But it was fun. Especially now.
And big ones too when we got older.
Yes, exactly. So much good stuff. So
for all your parents out there, thank you very much for listening in. And I'm pretty sure that your kids are going to go through the same. So don't worry, parents. They will pay hell for what they're doing, because they'll get paid back with their own kids.
This
Shot
is true.
one for us.
Yes. Thank you all so very much for being here with us. And this live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. Shout out to patrons. As always, thank you. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @91podcast. You can like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches podcast. For any bonus content or anything like audio versions of Open Mic or the DRT, you can become a patron, help support us, and that'll be patreon.com/WTT podcast. And thank you so very much. This can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. And the flagship show Within the Trenches podcast can be heard 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you in the next one. See ya.